and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Today is the final issue of an old favorite. While it has not always lived up to its potential, it did contain what may be the greatest comic of all time, wherein Mr. T fought an Incan cyborg while high on drugs. And although I say it's the final issue, what I mean is it's the last numbered issue. It took me until the end, but I finally got scans of the entire series that I didn't have to make myself from scanning the individual comics. And there's another issue in there. The file is numbered as number 5A, but internally it's labeled as number 0, and the cover doesn't have an issue number for it, nor does the copyright info. So this could be an annual issue, it could just be a special. It is double-sized, which lends credence to the idea of it being an annual, but I just don't know. So yeah, I was actually gearing up to have to say goodbye to Mr. T and the T-Force, let this be the final episode of the series, but no, we've got one left after this. And skimming through it, well, let me put it this way, Mr. T fights a Phantom of the Opera-esque supervillain, so we'll be ending on a high note. But what of this last regular issue? Well, last time on Mr. T and the T-Force, our hero is accused of murdering a drug dealer named Eddie Blades. He's brought in by the cops, but he was already in the middle of trying to locate a pregnant teen girl named Holly. The police sergeant, Kelly, allows Mr. T to escape during a blackout when he promises to return after finding her. But when he locates her about to throw herself off a bridge, gangsters under the employ of a guy named Clarence demand Mr. T go with them. In the ensuing fight, Holly is thrown off the bridge and Mr. T leaps over to try to catch her. So let's dig into Mr. T and the T-Force number 10 and see if he can use the T-Force to lift her from the water like a T-Wing.
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. What's with these awkward subjects? What's all this art so rubbish? To anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara, he is a man, punch, sporadically a grouch. Linkara, he has his own spaceship, but he's always on his couch. Linkara, ghosts, gods, a universe in flux. Linkara, this comic sucks. Linkara.
Our cover features Mr. T in the spotlight and surrounded by guns. Fortunately, he is Mr. T, so I fully expect him to just be focusing his attention on the most efficient way of taking down every single one of these guns. And unfortunately, while my scans say that there is a Mr. T trading card, that is not the case with the physical copy of it I have. Instead, just talking about calling Mr. T, which we've covered before. It's a damn shame for this episode that we don't have the most valuable commodity to come out of this series, the Mr. T trading card. But what we do have to show off are Science Squad cards! Yeah, if you're unaware, I hang out with a bunch of loosely associated VTubers called the Science Squad. We talk, show off funny things happening in various video games, particularly Voices of the Void, and we decided to make some trading cards with all the proceeds going to charity, Trans Lifeline, and the Ovarian Cancer Research Alliance. We're hoping to sell 500 booster packs and 250 signed creator cards for the best payout. The cards feature artwork from various individuals, including Vega and Jay Manor from the show's title cards. Many of the cards recreate memorable moments from Science Squad streams, like this one.
I don't think he explodes. He
I'm
shouldn't.
pretty sure he explodes.
No!
And this one.
If I go 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, Tag, what do you do? Tag explodes a lot around me. Pre-orders are available until November 30th, and no, I don't care if that makes this episode outdated. I'm a timelessly hilarious person. Here's Tag the Otter exploding again. Gotcha. You didn't catch it. Link in the description. Get a card that I've signed personally. We open where we left off last time. Mr. T falling over the edge of the bridge to try to catch Holly and oh my god, what's wrong with his body? It's twisting and distending into various proportions, particularly his poor legs. Okay, I'm adding this kind of rubbery Mr. Fantastic-esque body stretching to the count. Fortunately for our hero, there just happens to be some kind of scaffolding right below where they fell off, which is still probably not healthy for the poor pregnant girl to land on, but at least they didn't pull a Gwen Stacy. Unfortunately, they're still in range of the gang members, who once again aim their guns at them. Nowhere to go but down, man! Yeah, as in down to the south side. Clarence requires your undivided attention. We're also stopping for pizza. You want any? We're buying. 10 minutes later, Mr. T is brought before Clarence as he puts out a cigarette. Been a long time. I suppose you're gonna tell me smoking is bad for my health. Not as bad as I am, so don't set me on fire and inhale me, sucker! Mr. T denies killing Eddie Blades, Clarence saying that they have to kill him if he did. Mr. T just needs to get proof of his innocence, and Clarence is willing to give him until morning, keeping Holly as a hostage until he returns. We cut to the police station, where they're holding a briefing despite the blackout. Early in the evening, while in the custody of Sergeant Kelly, the neighborhood do-gooder known as Mr. T escaped under the cover of the blackout. We're pretty sure Mr. T has night vision, even if it's not one of his official superpowers. I know some of you admire the man's efforts with the neighborhoods, but this time he's gone too far, and now he's a fugitive from justice with a warrant for his arrest. It's our duty to assume the absolute worst about him, despite his squeaky clean reputation and the evidence being very clearly planted to implicate specifically him. Back over to our hero, he's contacting Nurse Janie, who informs him that they were able to contact every T-Force member except for Lester, the kid from a few issues ago who helped a group of parkour ninjas, and Mr. T gave away to the cops after marching him outside in his underwear and stalking him incessantly. He gave Lester a T-Force communicator at the end of that issue, and Mr. T suspects that's the one that was planted at Eddie Blades' murder. He instructs Janie to tell the cops everything when they come around to question her, since while it'll lead the cops to him, it should also lead to Eddie Blades' killer. And indeed, the cops come to talk to her by candlelight. Now, I'm sure you've been instructed to keep your mouth shut, miss, but if you... I'm gonna tell you everything. Write it down and try not to lose it. Now, the lyrics to the Treat Your Mother Right song are as follows. We cut to Mr. T outside of a juvenile detention facility. A clubhouse for boys with too much time on their hands. And I've got none. Let's see if they'll share their supply. Mr. T sneaks into Lester's room and wants to know what happened to the T-Force communicator. Lester claims it was snatched in a fight, but refuses to tell who took it. I ain't no pigeon. I'm a mourning dove, damn it! Mr. T does not give a crap about this kid's reputation among the juvenile delinquents, and Lester finally admits that it was Johnny Ma, the kid brother of Chinese mob boss Al Ma. He tells Mr. T where he can find Ma, a place called King Gai Lao, but warns him about the guy. Mess with him and you'll get got. Mr. T doesn't get got. Mr. T's less famous catchphrase didn't move t-shirts at all. The cops spot his car and him exiting the building, but fortunately there's a nearby guard coming off a graveyard shift on a motorcycle. I need to borrow your bike, brother. It's an emergency. Whatever you say, Mr. T. Oh, in that case I say shoobity floop de whoop, fool. I promise to bring it back in one piece or I'll buy you a new one. And that's why the Mr. T auto insurance guarantee was so popular back then. Safety first. Don't do drugs or whatever, but make sure to do a high-speed chase with the cops. And indeed, they chase after Mr. T for a couple of pages before he's able to inexplicably jump the bike over one of their cars.
John Freeman ramped off the building and did a backflip and landed.
The move is so awesome it causes the ground to explode when he lands. That's the power of Mr. T. He arrives at a street where there's a crap ton of looters just, well, doing their thing thanks to the blackout. Looting is rampant.
Well, I broke into my own room and managed to get away with my TV. I'll never miss it.
God, how bad are things in this city if we've got dozens of looters in the same space at 4:30 in the morning in the middle of a heavy storm? He spots one store owner trying to protect their shop and intervenes, pushing aside a crowd. Don't do this! It's wrong! Even if everybody's doing it, you're all accountable for your actions!
There is logic in what he says.
And right now, I'm the accountant! I'm gonna amortize your face, fool! The store owner, who I think is supposed to be Chinese based on some of their dialogue exchange, including a little bit of broken English, brings him into his camera shop. Thank you so much. They don't listen to me, but with you, they pay attention. I mean, technically they're listening to his fists as they collide with their faces, but still, more people should be listening to their neighborhood camera salesman. Looting costs everybody, especially guys with crowbars. Nobody thinks about the poor crowbar salesman at a time like this. Mr. T's primary weapon in this series, aside from his fists, has been a specially made camera that he uses to record misdeeds, which was made by this gentleman. It was damaged recently, but the store owner has a new one for him. As Mr. T walks out, he asks him something. Does the name King Gai Lao ring a bell? Sure, it's Chinese for place of gathering. Ah. No, it doesn't. Maybe it does, but none of the translation stuff I looked up came even close to that. What are you doing? But still, we cut to King Gai Lao, which is apparently also known as the Chinese Cultural Center, a safe house for the Ma organization, which operates from its shadows and back rooms. OSHA has fined them multiple times for their inadequate lighting and ventilation in the back rooms. This time, the shadows are striking back, thanks to their manipulation of the Centauri Republic. Mr. T knocks out some guards and enters, but security already knows he's there. The inside looks more like a museum themed around Chinese artifacts, which for some reason includes some ninjas, a couple of whom attack Mr. T. It's a good thing you wore your pajamas. Good night! Tonight's bedtime story from Mr. T. Good night, Moon. Good night, Ninja! He enters a warehouse area that I guess was supposed to contain fireworks, because he just says, "Fireworks? Yeah, right," and says that it's actually a bunch of weapons to be sold to kids. And apparently the good Mr. Ma himself is there with some of his goons. I'm impressed. I thought you'd be pounding out license plates by now. Thought I'd pound a few of your men first.
Well,
You don't need to point a gun at me, Mr. T. You're already wanted for one murder. I mean, by that logic, he shouldn't worry about killing you then, since he's going to jail for one anyway. He asks why he was framed, and it's pretty cut and dry. Ma is expanding his operations into the South Side and didn't want Mr. T interfering with them. And if Clarence suspects his involvement, he'll attack first, and thus Ma can look like he's just defending himself. He tells Mr. T to leave, our hero encouraging Ma's brother to not get involved in the family business, and to tell Lester no hard feelings. Goodbye, Mr. T, and thank you for not shooting me. I already did, sucker. Omae wa mo shinderu, fool! It's not a gun, it's a video camera! That obviously video camera-looking object wasn't a gun at all! We might be bad at this whole crime thing, guys. He orders his goons to fire on him, but Mr. T is able to evade them. The boxes in the warehouse, not so much, and based on the splash page featuring a massive explosion behind him, I'm guessing the boxes did have at least a few fireworks. The cops soon arrive as Ma and his goons stumble out of the place, somehow still alive. Mr. T hands the videotaped confession over to Sergeant Kelly, who's more than happy to accept this and clear Mr. T, since they'd been after Ma for a while. And Clarence even arrives with Holly, releasing her. It seems he had been following Mr. T this whole time. Why don't you help build your community instead of tearing it down? If I did, you'd have nothing to do. Wrong! I'd still have my gig as a charity Santa worker who teaches latchkey kids the true meaning of Christmas with Maureen McGovern and David Copperfield. You know nothing of my career prospects. Why don't I start by offering you a ride? I'm not going your way. You never did.
You know, you got a lot of mouth, and I got a lot of fists for your mouth.
He walks Holly off to talk to her and asks if Clarence treated her okay. He told me about you, about how you guys grew up together and stuff. I grew up in the ghetto, but the ghetto grew up in him. And now he's gentrifying everything. Now what about you? It's time you had faith in yourself. Forget what others think. It's what you think that counts. Mr. T, she slit her own wrists because of her teen pregnancy. I don't think self-affirmation against other people's opinions was the problem. I was so depressed. It seemed like the only way. There's no right way to do a wrong thing, Holly. But there is a wrong way to present this message, and you are doing it, comic. After what I've been through, and the differences I've seen between people like you and Clarence, I know life can be better if I just believe in myself. Just believe in yourself and you won't have to worry about your teen pregnancy. What? And so our comic ends with Mr. T telling her she should always remember that she's not alone, which is also a perfectly good sentiment but has nothing to do with what's been happening, and the two walk off into the city silhouette and the sunrise. This comic is not bad, but man, I feel like between issues they forgot what Holly's deal was. It's an action-heavy issue, and it does it well. Mr. T constantly in motion, moving from clue to clue in the hope of getting to the bottom of things before daybreak. And hey, ending on the sunrise when Clarence said he had until morning was some nice bookending. And we kept getting captions of what time it was, both to show how realistically it takes a while to get around the city, but also that time is very quickly running out for Holly. And as a final issue, I like how it touched on a lot of elements of the series. Obviously not everything. Man, wouldn't it have been fun if they brought back the Incan cyborg to help him? But Janie's been a supporting character since the first issue, Lester from a few issues ago and following up on his T-Force communicator. We got Mr. T dispatching random criminals, and even brought back the camera as a weapon against crime and having that resolve the plot. Sure, it wasn't some grand wrap-up of all the storylines, but it showed that the book actually had some continuity despite changing writers every few issues, and yet still feeling like the same series throughout. Still, I'm glad that this isn't the final Mr. T and the T-Force thing we're looking at, since that stuff with Holly is such a bad note to end on. Next time, no double billing of Secret Origins month for this year, sadly. We've got to get back to the Patreon-sponsored extravaganza. But fortunately, we are still getting some Silver Age fun as we look at the first few issues of The Mighty Crusaders.
I'm sitting on my couch reviewing comics, the worst words that you will ever see. It's sad that comic books are for geeks, but they're not. They're for everybody. Linkara. If you doubt that I am a man, I am a man.
Okay, what have we found out? Well, first, I think the kiddies ate my hat.
Very little. There is a reference to these architects in Comicron 1's database. Lord Vice apparently attempted to enlist their help in hunting down the entity and other creatures like it. They had very advanced technology, but they refused to help and were able to resist his attempts to take the technology by force. How they did this, or the exact circumstances, however, were in the pieces of the database lost to us.
Probably not good if these mooks can go toe-to-toe with Vice. If they're that powerful, how come we've never heard of them before? During the contest, Jarrus and Aaron, people talked about Vice. How come no one has mentioned these architects? Vice didn't exactly keep himself a secret. He traded on his reputation and the fear people had of his power. These architects seem to keep to themselves. Except apparently they're screwing with us. Are we sure this all just ain't some elaborate con? The Tinker Toy with the kid's face is still out there. This could all be some trap.
We've analyzed the message. The subchannel ID matches Comicron 1, so if it's a fake, someone had to do it directly from the ship. 90s Dude and Eliza are working with Nimue right now to see if there have been any intrusions we didn't detect.
I wouldn't put it past Mechakara, but let's assume for the time being that this is legit. What else do we know? Timestamp on the message is a year from now. We have that long to prepare. But prepare for what? All the message said was that we're all in danger. What are we up against here?
It is also said that these architects could change the timeline. Are we in an alternate timeline right now?
If the timeline has been altered, knowing that something is happening in a year isn't going to help us. Whatever led up to those events could have changed so that these architects attack tomorrow or in 20 years or never. If they are watching us, that suggests that we possess something or we're capable of doing something that could disrupt their plans. I suggest we determine how they're watching us. If it's something magical, well, we're out of luck. But if it's some sort of technological surveillance, it can be disrupted or fooled. Get on it. Poyo, look over that message again. See if there's anything unusual about it or something we missed.
All I've found so far are a few bits of code embedded into the message, but they're more like fragments of code. It could mean something, but could just as well be damage to the message itself when it was transmitted.
It's a starting point. Let's be as discreet as possible for the time being. If these architects are out there, then my future self just handed us a huge advantage that we don't want to sacrifice just yet.